Good evening and welcome to the August 5th, 2020 meeting of the Gaithersburg Planning Commission. I'm sorry, I don't have a gong like the mayor and council does to duly start the meeting, but we'll go with the verbal one. Let me let you know one quick thing, commissioners. I got on a little bit early with Brian, and we're going to start using the features in Zoom to allow folks to testify kind of real time. They don't have to sign up ahead of time or have their name in by 2 o'clock. So we'll be doing the raised hand and trying to work through that. Apparently there are a couple already showing interest, so we'll hopefully be able to get through that without any glitches tonight. But that's one change from the way we were doing our meetings previously. The first step is the approval of our minutes from June 17th. Is sort of catching up from an earlier one. I had one quick typo. I meant to send it earlier, but I didn't. So Greg, we got, I don't know what started this, but we got on the topic of fishing licenses, and then started talking about the Department of Natural Resources, and everywhere it should say natural, it says national. So, you know, if we're ever appealed in court, we'll want that to be correct, I'm sure. Right?
We'll get that fixed. Thank you.
So anyway, if there aren't any other comments on the minutes, is there a motion to approve the June 17th minutes, please?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the June 17th, 2020 minutes as read into the record.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded, and I'll do the roll call vote. Commissioner Wessel?
Aye.
Commissioner Hopkins?
Aye.
Commissioner Kaufman?
Aye.
Commissioner Winborn?
Aye.
And I will vote aye as well. Thank you. That passes unanimously. Next is our site plan agenda. We have 2 items tonight, and first up is the continuation from the previous meeting for SP-8401-2020 construction of a Royal Farms retail building and gas station, Starbucks and parking lot located within the Spectrum development in the MXD mixed-use development zone. And this is the final site plan, and as I mentioned, it's continued from the previous July 15th meeting. Our record's closed, but this is the evening for our discussion and action on this. And presenting from staff is Jasmine Forbes. Jasmine, are you there? Good evening. There you are. And you're muted.
All right.
There you go.
Good evening. So this is a continuation of final site plan application SP-8401-2020. As shown on the screen, can I have the next page, please? This application is for 3 pad sites within the Spectrum development. The applicant's requesting approval for a 4,649 square foot retail building, associated 1,248 square foot car wash, and 10 double-sided filling pump stations for Royal Farms. The application also includes a 2,500 square foot Starbucks building with a drive-through, a parking lot on pad side B, and associated amendment to the forest conservation plan. The applicant is also requesting a parking waiver for 4 spaces that will be 10 feet in width for the Royal Farms. The Planning Commission reviewed the application during the July 15th meeting. The Commission kept the record open on this application until 5 p.m. on July 30th and deferred final action until the August 5th meeting. There was no testimony from the public during the course of the hearing, and at the time the Commission's record's closing, no further public testimony was received. So on the July 15th meeting, the Commission commented favorably on the application and the proposed architecture, but had expressed some concerns about the exposed equipment in front of the Royal Farms building. The Commission has requested the applicant to explore the possibility to better integrate the icebox and the propane tank with the building architecture. So the applicant has reached out to Royal Farms, and they are exploring 2 options. One option is to incorporate a knee wall on either side of the icebox and the propane tank. And the other option is to paint the icebox a color that complements with the rest of the building so it doesn't stick out. A recommended condition of approval has been included to allow the applicant to continue to work with staff to further evaluate those options. So the commissioners didn't really have any other comments on other aspects of the plan during the July 15th meeting. In conclusion, staff is supportive of site plan application SP-8401-2020, amendment to the final conservation plan application EMB-8402-2020, and the parking space waiver. The proposed plan advances the overall spectrum vision, providing a vibrant and walkable mixed-use community. And the proposed uses will enhance the existing commercial and residential uses within the spectrum development and will not have any adverse impact to the existing development or adjacent properties. I do want to note in my recommendation, I forgot to note that the parking waiver has to be its own separate motion. So once we get there, I'll read out that motion. If you have any other questions, here to answer. We also have Matthew Walters and Pete Henry here also this evening.
Hey guys, thanks for being here tonight. So it's okay to bundle the site plan and the environmental waivers, but you want to do parking separately?
Yes.
Okay. All right, commissioners, any questions on the current recommendation? Pretty
Just
straightforward.
one clarification. Jasmine,
Sure.
I remember from the last time we talked about this, that there was a concern from the police department that the car wash would make too much noise, but isn't that in the police department, if I'm not mistaken, because I walked past it, is on the other side of 270. So am I wrong? Are they're
Future site.
Am I
Dan.
not understanding something?
Adjacent is a future site of a new police station.
That's what, okay, and that's what I was wondering. Okay, so that was their concern about what's going to happen. Okay, all right, I wanted to make sure.
Yeah, they're not there yet, but they have.
Yeah, I know that, yeah, I just wanted to be clear.
Okay. Any other questions, comment? Sure, Lloyd.
Mr. Chairman, I just have a quick question about the propane tank and the knee wall that was proposed. Does the knee wall provide enough security in terms of protecting the propane tank, or are there bollards in front of the propane tank? Just for safety reasons, I'm not clear about the knee wall and how the security is around that propane tank.
There are bollards all around the parking area preventing any cars from hitting it. And then there's nothing really separating the pedestrian from it, but there are bollards certainly protecting the cars from hitting the propane.
So the knee wall will then be outside of the bollards.
The knee wall will be on, it'll be coming out from the actual architecture of the building on either side, just to kind of frame it and make it look intentional. It'll still be whatever the clearance is between the bollards and the propane. That's the same clearance you'll have.
Okay.
With the knee wall, 6 to 8 feet, something like that.
That's fine. I was just concerned about the safety aspect of having the knee wall as being the primary protection, but it's the bollards that'll be the primary protection around them. Good. Thank you.
All right, any other questions? All right, so we have the recommendation of approval with 9 conditions from staff, and including the environmental portion of the application, but we'll do that first, right, Jasmine, then come back for the parking waiver. You'll read something for that?
Yes. So you want to read the first motion?
Yeah, please.
So staff recommends that the Planning Commission, based on the exhibit submitted, applicant's testimony, and staff report, findings of recommendation, grant SP-8401-2020 final site plan approval and EMV-8402-2020 finding a conformance with sections 24-170 and 24-171 of the city's zoning ordinance with 9 conditions.
Okay. And I'll just give you just ask one more time if anybody has any questions or concerns about the 9 conditions, if everyone's satisfied with that. I'm happy that I think we've covered those concerns about the ice vending and the propane tanks and all to do something with those, and staff can pick that up, I think, as a follow-up item. All right. Well, if there aren't any further comments or questions, is there a motion, please?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we grant the SP 8401-2020 based on the exhibits submitted, applicant's testimony, and staff report findings and recommendations, final site plan approval, and ENV 8402-2020, finding it in conformance with sections 24-170 and 24-171 of the city's zoning ordinance with the 9 conditions as read into the record.
Second.
I heard a second from both Phil and Danny. I guess I should go back to, I more carefully choreographed call for motion with the hands and things like that. But bear with me. All right, so it's been moved and seconded. Let me do the roll call vote. Commissioner Wessel,
Aye.
Commissioner Hopkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Kaufman,
Aye.
Commissioner Winborn,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well. Thank you very much. That passes unanimously. And then Jasmine, you want to take us through the parking waiver, please?
So staff recommends that the Planning Commission, based on the exhibit submitted, the applicant's testimony, and the staff report findings and recommendation, grant the 10-foot width space waiver for 4 parking spaces, finding in conformance with section 24-22A of the city zoning ordinance.
Okay. We don't have that actually in our packet, so we can sort of just as read into the record, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Is there a motion, please?
I move that we accept the motion as read into the record by staff.
Is there a second?
Second.
You're getting really good at that, hitting it just at the same time. I will let the record
I'm sorry,
show
I
that-
should have raised my hand.
Let the record show Commissioner Wessel gets the second on one of the motions and Commissioner Winborn gets the second on the other one.
Split the difference.
This is a dead tie. Okay, it's moved and seconded. Let me do the roll call vote, please. Commissioner Wessel,
Aye.
Commissioner Hopkins,
Aye.
are you on? Okay, thank you. Commissioner Kaufman,
Aye.
Commissioner Winborn,
Aye.
and I will vote aye as well. I think my audio cut out. Apologize for that. Thank you very much. That passes unanimously. Good luck.
Good luck.
Gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
See you
Great.
soon.
We'll get it done.
Looking forward to it. It's gonna be a good project.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, second item on our site plan agenda this evening is for, let me pull it up here, excuse me. AFP-8353-2019 amendment to the sign guidelines for the Ketland's Market Square Shopping Center in the MXD Mixed Use Development Zone. And it's an amendment to final plan, and presenting from staff again is Jasmine. Good evening again.
Good evening again. So staff's before you to present amendment to final site plan application AFP-8353-2019. The applicant is requesting to revise the approved side guidelines for the Ketland's Market Square Shopping Center to allow tenant signs on a Paseo tower. Next page, please. So as shown on the screen, the shopping center has frontage along Ketland's Boulevard, Centerpoint Way, Market Street West, and Market Street East. And the proposed sign that's based on this application is the Paseo Tower, which is located right in the newly constructed Paseo for the Ketland's Market Square. So the commission originally reviewed this application during the December 4th, 2019 meeting. The commission had concerns that the proposed sign guidelines that provide the necessary detail of a comprehensive sign guidelines for the tenant signage on the Paseo Tower, and deferred the application to allow applicant to amend the sign guidelines based off discussions that was brought up during December 4th, 2019 meeting. And I will have Karen Gartfield from Kimco Realty, who's going to start off the presentation this evening.
Okay, great. Good evening.
Good evening. Can we go to packet page 193? Great. Good evening. I'm Karen Garfield with Kimco. I'm joined this evening also by Greg Reed, who in this format can't kick me under the table, but is also available to answer any questions. As Jasmine noted, we're back in front of the Planning Commission this evening for approval to amend the sign criteria for Ketland's Market Square. Next slide, please. Just a quick update on kind of where we are with everything at Ketland's. Retail's obviously been undergoing changes for some time. The pandemic has hit retailers particularly hard, especially it's been particularly difficult for restaurants with limited occupancy, kind of adjusting to a new carryout, and really kind of relearning and redoing their whole business model in many instances. We're really pleased though. We've actually had during the last several months, we've had several tenants actually open, including Bonchon at the corner of Market Street and Centerpoint Way, And actually just this past Monday, Cinco de Mayo opened. So we're very excited about that. Rankin Ramen has gotten all their permits and they've started construction this week actually. Chopped is waiting on some final permit and they'll then start construction, and Goldfish, the swim school, is actually under construction. So just want to give a quick update about where we are with the project. Next slide, please. We had talked about this last meeting, but I thought it was nice to just kind of review what the real role of the signs here serve. It's, you know, awareness for who's at the center, guidance for how to navigate the retail. It creates, you know, it creates a vibrant and interesting place. It provides identity for the retailers and the shopping center. It creates a real sense of place. It creates placemaking, and also it's branding opportunities. Next slide, please. Jasmine pointed out already where we're discussing, but this slide shows specifically the location of the Paseo Tower feature, circled in blue there, and the two images flanking it on either side show the vista of it from both the east and the west. Next slide, please. These are just some more current images showing the Paseo and what it looks like right now. We're eager and excited for additional food tenants to occupy some of these spaces and really have that in where you see the gray concrete, have outdoor dining there. I think it'll further activate it, particularly now with the an increased demand and desire for outdoor dining. This we're really pleased with how this is taking shape. But also these images, I think, help show in practice and in reality how this I don't think you can't see my pointer, how the Paseo Tower feature sits in context with, you know, different vantage points. Next slide, please. So the image on the top shows what's already in the approved sign criteria, and that is we had Market Square, so it's just going to be the name of the project. And what we're now requesting is shown on the bottom image, which is to have either Market Square or have two tenant signs. So instead of Market, a tenant, and instead of Square, a tenant. And, you know, again, we think that this is an important kind of carrot for many of the retailers. We've, you know, we've been asked about it. We think that in attracting additional tenants, that providing this opportunity is important. Next slide, please. So these two sides of the tower feature are slightly different, just how the building protrudes kind of out on the east side. But what we're seeking is really symmetrical signage on either side of it. So really keeping it to approximately 10 square feet of signage on either side, and again keeping it symmetrical. Next slide, please. And these two photos show kind of how that tenant signage would be placed on, and this is instead of a rendering, this is just a photo of each side of the tower feature. So while it could also say Market Square, these are showing what it would be like if it was a tenant sign. And then next slide, please. Kind of a summary of what we would allow for signage is, you know, channel halo lit letters, maximum letter height of 2 feet and a minimum of 12 inches, or scaled to be legible. I think previously we had 4 inches, which it was agreeably, we agree with, that was probably far too small. I don't know that would ever have gotten put up anyway, but we've put a minimum of 12 inches. Signage is reserved here is for tenants adjacent to the Paseo. So, you know, you won't see Whole Foods or Michael's or PetSmart have a sign here. It would be somebody adjacent to the Paseo. And furthermore, signage can't exceed the width of the actual architecture, so it wouldn't hang off the side. So whereas we didn't have that made clear before, we've made that clear here. And we would limit it to 2 rows of signs. So no more. Yeah, I think previously there had been some concern that this might start to look like Times Square, and that's not the intent or the. In fact, I think I mentioned this last time, but the power to the feature really accommodates 2 rows of signs anyway. So it's really kind of a built-in restriction, but we've just included that as part of the criteria here. And that's everything. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Karen. Commissioners, any questions from the applicant's team on what's been presented? Lloyd, please.
Yes, I'd just like to know if you have 2 tenants and one tenant decides to leave the space, you'll have one tenant sign up there. What happens if there isn't another tenant that wants to advertise up there or pay for whatever the rate is? Would you just leave one tenant on there? Would you put something else in its place for where the other tenant dropped out? How would you accomplish that?
It's a good question. I think I mean, ideally we'd have a tenant to backfill them, and the new tenant would then put their sign up. I mean, there might be a period of time where there is a sign down. Another option could be to put up a Market Square sign in its place. I think, again, we want, if there ends up being, I don't know this to be the case, but if there ends up being no interest in signage here from a tenant, we would pursue putting up the Market Square, because we still think that we remain convinced that it's a good branding opportunity, whether it's for tenants or for the property.
Right. Okay. I just want to make sure that there's a contingency there, so we know clearly that either there'll be Market Square up there or 2 tenants, and that would be the extent of it.
Good question. Anyone else? Questions?
No, I'll just add that on the Paseo, for me, it's less advertising than it is wayfinding, which, we're big fans of, obviously. And so if the tenant is on one side or the other and it's somewhat hard to see, or you need a clue as to where it is, that just giving them a lighthouse to follow is a great idea. Advertising aside, it's great wayfinding. So I'm very supportive.
Good point. Okay, if there are any other questions, we're going to attempt to do the public testimony. And Brian, do you want to cut in now and do your video about how to do it?
Currently, we don't have any members of the public who have joined the meeting, so I think we can bypass this section.
Okay, I was looking forward to your video. All right. So without any other testimony in play, Jasmine, what's the recommendation? And we'll move to discussion.
All right, so since this application is coming back to the commission, staff believes that we're not going to have the commission hold the record open for this application and make a final action this evening. So staff's going to recommend that the planning commission, based on the exhibit submitted, the applicant's testimony, and the staff report findings and recommendation, grant AFP-8353-2019 revision to Market Square sign guidelines provided in compliance with sections 24-170 and 24-172A of the city code.
Yeah, I think I'm sort of in Matt's camp. I see this more as a logical and appropriate wayfinding mechanism than just sheer advertising, although I'm sure it's going to benefit the tenant that does take advantage of the sign placement. But it's certainly a logical thing to do for people to find it and kind of get drawn to that space. And it seems like a really appropriate way to do it with the halo lit letters and something that's within the scale and appropriate to the size and shape of the tower. That's just me. Anybody else have anything you want to add to that? Commissioners, anyone? No? Well, that's one of the quietest, overwhelming approvals I think we've had in a long time. So thank you all for the presentation. That was very nicely done, and it has been exciting to see all the activity over there and the number of tenants that have been able to sort of pull through this crisis and still get their businesses open, and the ones that were open finding ways to work through it. And you know, I'm not sure how successful, but they're certainly making a run at it, and that's really great to see. And I guess thanks to the city too, you all were probably behind a lot of making the parklets happen for seating. I know that was one of the emergency packages that rolled out a month or so ago. And that seems to be working as well.
Yes, actually, the staff has been great to work with to do expedited outdoor seating for a lot of our tenants. That's been very helpful, and very quick responses we're getting from staff, which has been great.
Great, good to hear. Okay, if there aren't any further comments or questions, and I'll just give a second for a hand to fly up if there are any, but not seeing none. I guess we're ready for a motion. Anybody ready for that? Oh, come on. Don't be shy. Okay, Phil, you got it.
Mr. Chair, I move that the Planning Commission, based on the exhibit submitted, applicant's testimony, and staff reports, findings and recommendations, grant AFP 8353-2019 revision to Market Square sign guidelines, finding it in compliance with section 24-170 and 24-172A of the city code.
Second.
Okay, so moved and seconded, and I'll do the roll call vote. Commissioner Wessel.
Aye.
Commissioner Hopkins.
Aye.
Commissioner Kaufman.
Aye.
Commissioner Winborn.
Aye.
And I will vote aye as well. Thank you all very much. That passes unanimously. And good luck to the Kimco team. Thank you for all you're doing over there. It's coming together nicely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, that takes us to from the commission. And I'll just, I guess, do it in the same order we do our voting. Commissioner Wessel, anything tonight?
Nothing for me, thanks.
Okay. Commissioner Hopkins?
Nothing from me tonight. Thank you.
All right. Commissioner Kaufman?
Nothing for me likewise.
Commissioner Winborn?
Nothing for me right now, but I have something on the 19th. I'll save it for the 19th.
Okay, very good. And I don't have anything to add tonight. And then we go to from staff, and we do have an item about the 700 North Frederick. Greg, are you taking care of that?
Yes. So following the joint work session held on July 27th, staff is recommending the Planning Commission make a motion tonight to close the record for sketch plan SK-8495-2020 for 5 p.m. August 13th, 2020, with anticipated Planning Commission recommendation at the August 19th, 2020 meeting.
All right, very good. Would anyone like to put that as a formal motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Commissioner Wessel?
Aye.
Commissioner Hopkins?
Aye. Aye.
Commissioner Kaufman?
Aye.
Commissioner Winborn? And
Aye.
let the record show he pantomimed aye. And I will vote aye as well. Thank you very much, Greg. Anything else?
Just a reminder again that our next meeting is August 19th.
Okay, thank you. Hi, John Schlichting. Thanks for joining us. How are you this evening?
Good evening, commissioners. I am fine, and I just wanted to give you a quick update on the Lake Forest Mall work session, which is next Monday, August 10th. It is not a joint work session, but we encourage you to watch it. It's on the next steps, and Tom Lonergan and I are going to be presenting 4 options. One is we anticipate a request from WRS to renew or extend rather the development agreement, which has already been extended by 2 3-month extensions. It's now going on a year. So that's one option, is to renew that development agreement. The second option is to let the agreement expire and do nothing. That's kind of the no build option. We're not recommending that either. The third option is to move forward with the special study area, which we had presented, a year ago now, and had negotiated, actually, well, it was 6 months ago that we had actually negotiated an agreement with Smith Group to move forward on that. And that's another one of the options. We're actually not recommending going forward on that. We are recommending going forward with a MAC designation amendment, which would be a staff-driven process, no consultant fees, but it would update the master plan based on what we know today. And, obviously, given all the uncertainties of the COVID situation, That's one of the reasons why we don't think it's prudent to move forward with the special study area at this point, although we would hold that in our back pocket for in the future. But we do think the master plan needs to be amended, and that's going to be our recommendation next Monday night to the mayor and council. The mayor and council will make their decision on all these issues at their regular meeting on August 17th. And that is actually the day the development agreement expires with WRS.
Good timing. Hey, this may be for the work session, but I'm just curious if the recent news from Lord and Taylor framed us any differently than it would have 6 weeks ago.
No, frankly, because Lord and Taylor closed at Lake Forest Mall over a year ago. So there's not a whole lot of change there.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for that update, and I will tune in. There's some interesting stuff on the agenda with the council these days, so it's good to keep watching. All right. Anything else, Greg? Frank, thanks for joining us. Anything to add tonight?
No, not tonight.
Okay. All right. Well, seeing no hands fly up from anyone else, thank you very much for being here tonight, and have a good evening. We're adjourned.